Hi, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Sculpt Power. And today with us, we have our guest, Devanand Prabhu, and he is also into nutrition and fitness. So let us welcome him. And Dev, could you just give us a short introduction about yourself?
So I'm originally an engineer by profession, an electrical engineer to be precise. Back in 2020, around the time of COVID, certain circumstances pulled me into the fitness field. I wanted to explore, wanted to understand better what is going on because I felt the information out there is too vast and uh, perhaps not. It's a broad guideline, broad ideas. It's not individual specific. And a few mishaps in my own family as well regarding health crisis. And I myself was overweight at that point of time. So that kind of forced me to look into this thing. And, general curiosity brought me here.
That's nice. So yes, one point in time in life, like where like you fall sick, and then you realize like how important not only our health, but the family health is also, right? So even my journey actually started like that. So yes, they so now we have been seeing that there is a lot of cases, especially women health, infertility in them, and women trying to conceive and they're not able to conceive. So today's topic will be mainly around women's health, their fitness, and how nutrition and fitness together will help them change their lifestyles and become healthier and fitter. Fine.
Correct.
So this is today's topic. So I will just like to ask you like the first question of today's topic would be like nowadays I've seen this women think that they have to look thin, zero figure, or look skinny. But like what is happening is what I have seen is maybe look wise they look lean, but metabolically they're like very they're messed up. So do you have to say anything about that?
So this goes beyond women as well. This is just a general Indian thing. Uh, we Indians or Asians, South Asians in general, we have this body type called as skinny fat, or in other words, thin outside, fat inside. You're wearing a normal cloth. Your weighing scale doesn't reveal much of the picture, but there's a lot of fat inside us. So this makes us very much prone to metabolic illnesses, and not just that, it also sort of makes us like ignorant, or like we don't know what is happening, right? Like the past week, I saw about a few, like three or four DEXA scan reports. Like when they are above a certain age, I do ask if they are like if they don't have any budget constraints. I do ask them for DEXA scan, and at least two women I saw among that. And the common pattern was that like they were not overweight in the typical sense. Like perhaps they were 60 kgs, at most 65 kgs, which you wouldn't like if you look at them, they are not overweight. But if you look at the reports, you can identify that even when they are 60 or 65, they had perhaps 30, 35. I think the one of the reports was 32% body fat, another one was 34% body fat. That is very unusual, right? Like you have so much body fat at very low body weight. For if this the same body fat was seen in an American or a Westerner, you would assume that, like you would find that the person would have at least 80 plus kgs, right? Then the difference being is that our muscle mass and our bone densities, especially for women, is on the lower side. Bone density is more of a problem for women, not so much with men. But so this makes us in a very delicate metabolic health state, right? Like, if it cannot be just purely lose weight, because where are you going to lose the weight from? You don't have much weight in the first place. but you also have a metabolic illness that needs to be addressed as well. So this is a very tricky situation, that is the reason why I'm like sure you and me, like when we deal with these cases, it needs a lot more precision than a general obesity case.
Correct. So, do you get to see such clients, Dev, on daily in and out, like cases like this, where they think that being lean is healthy, but they have symptoms like knee pains, arthritis, like where they're like, like not actually healthy inside out. So, how many cases do you get to see on an average?
I like every week at least I see one or two cases of this sort. Um, actually, for me at least, I don't know, me at least, women cases are lesser than I do with deal with men's cases. That's another story. I'm sure we'll cover it at some point. But among the women cases, all of this is the most common pattern where like they are not overweight. Like yeah, I see like older women. I actually get more older women clients who are into diabetes and stuff. They have a different set of problems, but at least for the younger women, it's not. I don't often come across very overweight cases. It's basically normal weight or normal weight with a low muscle mass and a lot more body fat is the common pattern which I see. And they, yes, you are right. They do believe that being skinny means it's all right, right? Like being less weight or your weight is below a certain BMI and you are sorted out, you are healthy is the general thought.
True, true. So, how do you see them react when you ask them to do that? You have to exercise, you have to lift weights. How open they are, women like to lift weights, especially women who are like mid-age, like 30s, late 30s, when they're almost in their perimenopause or menopausal stages. That's when it's important for them to exercise and lift weights, basically, right? So how do you think women are they open to lift weights, or do they still are they stuck in those era like where they used to think, okay, lifting weights make them look like a man, something like that?
Right. So I think things are better now. At least among the new generation, they are not so much into that misconception. But a lot of, like you said, middle age, a little later than that, women don't really want to hit the gym. Right? I don't even I don't say like you have to hit the gym. You can even work out at home, but they have this belief that weights will make you bulky and, like you said, you look like a man. So first of all, let me clear that up. Women don't have nearly as much as testosterone as a man, and building muscle is like, even for a guy, it's not easy to build muscle. It's not like you accidentally hit the gym and you're suddenly looking like Arnold. So for women, it is much more harder, and not just that. Like if you look at the upper body, at least you can see the muscle fibers are very much low. That is why, like a pull up, which might be relatively, it is a hard exercise, but compared to a man and women, even the fit ones usually struggle because they don't have as much muscle fibers. So getting bulky by accidentally hitting a gym, it doesn't happen. Even when your nutrition is on point, your workout is on point, your sleep is on point, everything is on point. If you are looking muscular, means it's very rare. It's not gonna happen. So don't worry about that.
True, true, very true. And what is your say about nowadays women? It is not like before. Before, like my mother or my aunt, everyone they used to just look after the house, kids, cook for the family. But nowadays, the lifestyle of women has changed a lot. They have a lot of stress and they keep juggling between their professional life and personal life. So, do you think the stress might be affecting their fertility? Will this?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely. Perhaps I'm not sure how much it if affects directly. I'm not sure about that, but what I can say is definitely it's affecting their metabolic health. I think I've been dealing with a client based out of Mumbai, and for the I think it's almost been 2.5 months. Right, I looked at all the reports, nothing I could find. eating within the calorie budget, not overdoing carbs, all the things, all the boxes are right. I did her ask her many times whether you have a stress issue, but at least maybe at that point she wasn't comfortable enough to open up. But 2 days back, when I asked her again, because I need to find out what is going on, the reports wasn't suggesting anything. The exercise, the diet, everything is appearing to be okay. Everything is great. But I asked her like, okay, I have a few doubts because this is the only explanation here. In fact, I got a bit of a clue from the thyroid numbers as well. It is not very obvious, but I got some clues. So I just asked her like, and she fortunately opened up and says like so much stress, like work life balance that becomes so hectic. Your job doesn't end at the office. You're coming back. You're thinking about your job. You're thinking about your kids. There's a lot of cooking and like a lot of stuff that goes on, and you can clearly see that everything else was under control, but this one factor was bringing her head down. And this is not just the case with her. A lot of women go through this. In fact, a lot of men also go through this similar, but in a different way. So stress is a big killer in India. I think, in fact, I posted the 2 days back itself. Like, if you look at the average Indian physique, forget all the specifics. If you look at the average Indian physique, you will see that there's an uncanny resemblance to a Cushing syndrome. Like Cushing syndrome is where, for those of you who don't know, it's where there's a tumor and makes your cortisol level elevated, right? So our Indian physique looks pretty much like somebody with a Cushing syndrome. That means we are under so much stress, right? That is causing a lot of problems. And in fact, this might be the reason, like when even when your diet is okay, this is one of the reasons. I've been fortunate enough to work with a lot of high profile clients who are like in the, let's say in the like in the huge businesses and startups and trading and all that, investing and all that. And those people are having are dealing with this thing. Like they get the best food, they do the best diet, they hire personal trainers, they could get a good workout and all. But this is one limiting factor which is hurting our Indian health, which is very underrated. But the problem is that this is not something you can exercise out or supplement your way out, because this for most people at least it is on a psychological level, right? For women especially, it's on a psychological level. There's so many things going in your head, so you need to figure out, if required you need to get professional help and sort it out.
True, true, very true. And most of the gyms where I've seen is I myself, I train clients, and most of the cases I handle is women with hormonal imbalance. So, do you think even when a woman is choosing a trainer, a personal trainer, she should choose carefully, because nowadays it's not just a mainstream. Like weightlifting, we have to study their profile, their hormonal profile, their history, and then train. Do you think it is important?
Definitely, definitely, yeah. I definitely think it is very much important because we have gone past the stage. We are just looking at like doing some basic exercises and just cutting down on food and having some salads, right? We are past that point, and there are so many hormonal imbalances, right? And that needs to be addressed. And one important thing I want to bring to attention is that for most Indians, at least from a psychological or a mindset point of view, even for men, is that hormones equal to reproductive health, right? There are people going through all sort of hormonal, and even doctors. The other day, I was discussing something in my WhatsApp group, and this is about a guy. He went to a doctor for testosterone replacement therapy, and same thing with women, also hormone replacement after a certain age. Even the endocrinologist suggestion was that, like, why do you bother about testosterone and all that? Because you have kids, why do you even bother? Right. So this is more predominant. Like for men, it might be a small percent. For women, this is a huge thing. The quality of life is something that we don't take seriously. At least here, we don't take it seriously. We need to. It's not just about reproductive health. somebody, if you have kids, doesn't mean doesn't hormones doesn't matter anymore. Like quality of life entirely depends on this hormone. So that is something like there is a life beyond having kids also. So people should pay more attention to their health.
Exactly. So coming, like you said, quality of life, yes, because many of them, as I said, they're still stuck in that mindset saying testosterone is only to make kids or reproductive health. But in men, testosterone also gives them immunity, saves them from cancer and all these big yeah, diseases. So coming to women again, so now most of the cases or reports where I go through, Dave, very young girls, okay, they would have just got married and planning for kids, and that's what like infertility, period issues, PCOS, and thyroid, so many problems. So what I have realized is everything, the root cause for this is insulin resistance. So do you think that this should be fixed first and rest all the hormones will be fixed by itself?
Right. I do like so at least 90% of the cases of metabolic issues like PCOS or the new name is coming down to insulin resistance. 90% of the cases, 10% might be. Of course, you can argue that there are genetic factors and environmental factors adding to this. They might make you more susceptible, but at least what is finally pulling the trigger is insulin resistance. So this is a huge factor for metabolic health, especially women. And yeah, like that is something people need. First of all, they need to diagnose this, right? Like I don't see much doctors or even health experts suggesting insulin tests. They are usually going for they might do some scans, they might do some glucose and HbA1c and all that, but insulin is not something that is taken into account, and we definitely need to take into account the insulin. And yes, like to answer your question, because if you go by a hormone hierarchy, right, like the fix the big ones, then to the next level and the next level. So the biggest, like probably the biggest one is insulin. You fix insulin, you fix cortisol. Uh, though when those basic fundamental hormones are fixed, the rest of it sort of falls into place. Obviously, a minor work on them might be required, but this is the big one. Like that's what we call the elephant in the room.
The elephant in the room. Exactly. So, so what I want to ask you is, see, women are built completely different. So physical stress also, sometimes it messes up with their hormones. Unlikely like men. Men, yes, they can take physical stress as much as possible. So do you think that there is a belief that women should train according to the cycle, like during the luteal phase, during the ovulation phase, different kinds of training for the women. So, do you really think this will help, or women can train weight training throughout the period cycle?
So, from whatever scientific studies and analysis I have done, I have not come for like I've not found any meaningful thing that suggests that there should be training any differently, right? But it comes down to the fact where you are individually, like if you are having too much cramps or something, you're definitely going to be working out less, right? Comes down to the individual. But if you don't have that issue, just because you're in a certain phase of the cycle, doesn't really call for any less workout or any less. It's just the individual thing.
True. So, what you say is women should just listen to the body. So, if you are comfortable, yes, go ahead, lift weights. But when your body says that you need rest, yes, you have to take rest, right? So that is how. So that is
Right.
they'll be able to manage the stress also. I think so.
So, so there are like I said this for everybody. So there are like two things, right? One, you understand what your body is trying to say and listen to that. Or not all, like if you are academically interested, you can go for proper studies and analysis and all that to understand better. But don't get in between, don't get into that in between zone where you are listening to random information, random WhatsApp forwards, Instagram reels, where like we have no way to know who is saying the right thing and the wrong thing, right? And our mind has a tendency to like align with whatever seems comfortable for us. So that is something we need to be careful of. Like either you can dig into stuff with AI and all, it becomes much easier to analyze studies and all that. Otherwise, you should like obviously if you have some trustable sources, definitely good. But otherwise, don't uh, don't just overload yourself with information from random places. Yeah, you're going to get into trouble. And I see this more with women because I feel that they are more susceptible, right? I see this every women client I had, they had a ton of doubts or misconception which they originated in Instagram or somewhere, right? They are saying, eat this thing, eat that thing, it is good for your skin, it is good for your health, which have no scientific basis at all, right? And this usually gets them into more trouble than any benefit. So this is something to be careful of.
True, true. So, exactly when you were talking about women getting influenced by half knowledge and, and no scientific backup and like no studies about that. I myself have seen my clients, many clients, they say, no, you are supposed to do cardio. Yes, cardio may be good, but they do cardio hours together. So, what is your say on this, Dave? Is cardio good for women? Do I,
So cardio is something very important. I definitely think everybody should be doing cardio. There is no doubt in that. But I would still say strength training is the bigger factor, right? For so many reasons. Your metabolic health improves, your muscle mass. Like I think few days back there was an article, famous article about sarcopenia, people losing muscle mass. And Indians have it more actually. So this is a very important factor. Muscle building, not just from the metabolic perspective, for overall health, and especially one more thing is like for women, osteoporosis, osteopenia. So there is a, like bone density is usually on the backside, especially vegetarians, and for them, very critical to do a lot of strength training. If I had to put a number, I would say like 70% strength training, 30% or 25% of cardio, and rest of the 5% you can do whatever other activities you prefer, like flexibility and all that. Those are important as well, but at least strength training has to be the most important. You cannot, if you are going to a gym and the first thing you're doing is going to a treadmill or elliptical or something, you're not gonna benefit much. And in fact, one of the biggest challenges I have in my practice with women is I want them to get to strength training. The reason being, like, I see a lot of women of all ages, mostly I would say 40 plus, for 50, 60s. They, because they don't have any muscle mass and they have a lot of fat, accumulated fat in their body. Because of this reason, their metabolism is very, very slow. Imagine you would have to go down to 1,200 calories to lose weight, right? I don't want to do that because if you are going down so low on calories, means obviously, first of all, you're gonna feel lethargic, you're gonna feel fatigued, and you're gonna, how do you get all the nutrients within that calories? You're not gonna be able to get all the nutrients. So it will be a compromise between somehow losing weight and getting the nutrients. We don't want that. So it should be, ideally, we want women to have more muscle mass so that their maintenance calories is up there. Imagine if your maintenance calories is 2000, then you have to just eat to 1800 and you are getting a deficit. But if you are somebody whose metabolic health or your maintenance calories is down to 1300, you cannot eat practically 1100 unless you're taking a GLP, and how are you going to lose weight? And you will get into more trouble. Uh, if not now, later, definitely.
true, very true. So now we spoke a lot about fitness. I would like to ask you about nutrition for women now. So now most of the clients, what I have seen is they used to be non-vegetarians, but they think that okay, eating non-veg and fat, they get fat because they're eating fat. They stopped non-veg, not eating non-vegetarian, and they have turned into vegetarians. So do you think even this might help? Or disrupt their hormonal synergy in the body and might lead to infertility in women? Will eating animal source protein and good fats improve their reproductive health? What is your say on this, Dev?
So I don't ask anyone to like a vegetarian to become a non-vegetarian or vice versa. That's their personal matter. But yes, nutrients are gonna be a trouble, like especially it's gonna be a challenge on a pure strict vegetarian diet. This is a fact. The reason being, one, like if you are an aware, like I have been practicing vegetarian diet for a certain period of time, just to experiment. Like in fact, I just became non-veg again yesterday. I've been for the last 6 months. I've been vegetarian just to see. So, but I did not face any major concerns because I know what to do and I'm already open with supplementation and all that wherever it's required. People don't have that mindset, and when they are very stubborn on their diet, it usually ends up with a lot of deficiencies. Number one is iron. Women in the menstruating age, you're going to lose a lot of iron through menstrual blood. So how you're going to replenish them? You are either going to have a lot of iron rich food, which again is in plant-based food, it's non-heme iron. You cannot absorb them very well. And secondly, like if you check a lot of their blood markers, you can see the ferritin levels are usually very, very low. They might not have a, let's say, they might not have an anemia as such, but we call it as non-anemic iron deficiency. Most women are at that stage. So iron deficiency is a huge thing, and iron directly influences energy levels, which directly influences your ability to work out, your strength training, and all that. So iron levels are big. This thing, other nutrients which I see problematic is B12. This is a common problem among Indians, vegetarians and non-vegetarians, but B12 deficiency. Surprisingly, B9 too. I see a lot of B9 deficiency. Perhaps then another dangerous trend is with pink salt. So they lose out on iodine. Like earlier, I used to say consume salt to clients, but now I make sure that I then iodized salt or particular salt because I realize, okay, they are not exactly having the type of salt which I thought was common. They are having this again comes back to the Instagram reels and stuff. So they're having pink salt, so iodine might be a problem, which affects thyroid functioning. Selenium, vegetarians, pure vegetarians, if they don't have like Brazil nuts is not a very common thing, but otherwise you're gonna get hardly any selenium. Likewise, vitamin D, obviously everybody has that. I came across a trend of vegetarians sort of giving up all sorts of dairy products. Uh, this has come down. I don't think it's a vegan influence. I think it's more to do with, like, at least in Mumbai, you might have heard adulterated paneer and milk and all that. So that has put a fear in a lot of people, and they have stopped dairy products. And that calcium is being taken like taking a hit if you're dropping dairy. So these are the most common deficiencies. Yeah, you can think like zinc and choline and a lot of stuff. Like a lot of deficiencies are there. Perhaps not a true deficiency, like I said with iron, perhaps not a below the lab test deficiency. Like let's say somebody has a B12 of 200. For most labs, that is not a true deficiency. But we call that as a functional deficiency, where there is enough to be above avoid the worst case scenario, but not enough for all the body functions, or you're still feeling the symptoms. So most people are in that zone. And yeah, if you're switching diet, it's completely your choice. Everybody has a right to do it, but know the limitations of the diet, at least in the modern day. Yeah, I forgot about magnesium, the big one. So these are the common deficiencies, and one thing leads to another, and a lot of things just compile together, come together, and make a bigger problem.
Okay, that was very insightful. Fine, I'll just stop the pause the recording for some time. And my colleague Srinivas, he'll be asking you the last question, the 16th question. So, if you could change just three beliefs that women have about fitness and health, what would that be? That will be the question. But he will be asking in Kannada. You can just answer in English. Okay.
Mhm.
If you want, you can just refer to that question, the 15th, 16th question.
Okay, okay.
Okay, Dev. I think he's busy. I'll just continue with the questions then. Okay. So, some like women, they do fasting, intermittent fasting, and what I have experienced myself is when I fast, I feel like my stress level increases. I become very emotional, depressed sometimes, overreacting, and all those like kind of negative kind of things come out of me. And but some people say like yes, when you do intermittent fasting, it is very good for you. It is good for your gut, and it is good for your hormonal health. But this is like a very thin line, and you have to just go on it, walk on a thread. It is something like that. You just either fall like this or that, like your health is gone. So, what is your say on that? They like, do women need to fast, or do they have to? I also have this question. I have heard that women should fast only during their menopause. So, what do you think about it?
So my first advice to all the listeners would be, if anybody is making absolute statements in any aspect of nutrition, don't listen, right? If somebody is certain saying with certainty, this is good for you, this is the way to do things, that don't listen, because there is something called as bio individuality. Every person is different. So what might work for you might not work for me, and vice versa, right? So it is very much unique to a person. Having said that, a general thing, you are absolutely right. For women, I generally tend to not go into extremes on any either the diet or the frequency of food. So I don't. Yeah, like if somebody is comfortable, yes, but otherwise, definitely we can know that after a few days of trial and error. But generally, intermittent fasting is not something I would at least have a weight shake. That's what I say, right? I don't endorse too much of fasting for women, uh, and even the other side, right? Very low fat diet, very low carb diet. This is not something I endorse for women, because I feel that that can really be stress inducing, and that can have a negative effect. Now, having said this, one thing is important. Like, let's say if somebody is very overweight, let's say somebody is very overweight, you have to see, like, for that person, intermittent fasting might be beneficial. Like, everything we do has a positive side and a negative side, right? Like, for that person, cutting down the calories, eating less carbs, eating less uh, unhealthy fats, eating more protein, that will give them the weight loss. Maybe stress levels do increase a bit, but the net, like we have to see where the net positive is, right? Which effect is more dominant and where things are standing currently. And for most very overweight people, losing weight, regardless of the means, where I wanna like put a warning there. Not, I don't endorse that, but regardless of the means, whether it is a very low carnivore diet or a low fat diet or a GLP-1, regardless of the way you choose, or intermittent fasting, if somebody is very overweight, losing that weight will be the biggest plus for them, right? There might be other negative sides to that particular diet or that particular approach, but usually when you are losing a lot of weight, that is a net positive, and everything else. yes, later on those might catch up if you're not careful and if you're not ready to step back a little. But generally, as you said, I'm not a huge fan of long-term fasting, or not even like, for some people intermittent fasting is okay, but for most people, I'm not a big fan of too much fasting, too much extremes on the diet for women, because I've seen that it messes with their maybe a psychological, maybe just the fact that one meal is taken away, maybe psychologically messing with them. May not be food related at all, but I've definitely seen that, and they tend to do better when maybe it's a small meal, but they tend to do better that way, is my observation. Whether the second part of the question was whether only women above a certain age should do that. Again, no scientific basis to that. Uh, in fact, I think menopausal women are more prone to stress. At least this is my observation, may not be scientifically accurate, but I've seen that they are more prone to stress. And they are, I think you're sure, I think you've seen a lot of cases like that, that those cases are the hardest to handle. Like I have to be very frank, the most hardest cases I deal with, not going to specific conditions, but the kind of people I find hardest to deal with in getting the results is usually the women above a certain age. And there's another bunch of people who are into ultra marathons and ultra running, and like some people who I call as chronic fasters. They like 3 day fast, their metabolism becomes so slowed down, slow, let's say efficient, to the point that you cannot lose weight. Nothing they are doing is going to lose weight. And I think the common denominator is the lack of muscle mass. But yeah, to summarize, I don't endorse too much fasting for women of any age.
Okay, that was a very informative thing from you. So now, one more thing what I have noticed, Dave, is I have a client. She is lean, not fit though, but lean, and she has very irregular and very painful cycles, period cycles. So once, like I just randomly asked her to get her blood work done, and in that we came to know that her hormones was not good at all, the blood work, the report. And one more thing, what I have what I realized is she had gut dysbiosis. So could gut issues, could that relate, I mean, directly affect the hormonal synergy in the body, like how the hormones work? Will Could that be?
So I'm not I'm not come across anything that like scientifically says they are connected in a direct sense. At least I've not come across. There might be there, but what I feel or what I see is that when you have a gut dysbiosis, it affects on nutrient absorption in a huge way. Like the nutrients we mentioned, like B12 and all those are like very much affected by the gut. So if absorption is being hampered, then as an aftermath, a lot of these hormones also go haywire. Like I said, you are not having enough selenium or iodine or even iron for that matter. Your thyroid functioning is going to be messed up. And like our earlier topic of hormone hierarchy, once the top level hormones or the second level hormones are messed up, usually it has a cascading effect to the other hormones as well. And that is what I see. Whether the gut has a direct effect is something that I need to study more, and I think there needs to be more research as well. But I think it's the nutrient deficiency, and of course, one thing is like what I've seen is once you have a gut issue, right? Whether it is females or males, if you have a gut issue, that sort of messes with your mind. What we call it as the gut-brain axis, right? So it uh, usually ends up with psychological your mindset is going to be all messed up as well, right? Like first of all, even if there is no gut brain axis, even if there is no such thing, like you are going to feel terrible after eating some food. You're not going to be able to eat some food without thinking about how you're bloated, you want to go to toilet and all that stuff. Definitely, that's going to mess with your mind, and so that itself might induce stress. That might you don't, maybe you don't go out to eat much, you don't mingle with your friends, so on a psychological level it messes with you so much, and you are generally becoming more unhappy. So on so many ways, like there might not be a direct connection, but on so many levels there is like indirect relation between all these things, and that is what I see commonly.
That's nice. It's fine. And one more thing, what see, I observe a lot, especially being a woman. I myself sometimes, I go through this roller coaster of emotions, and then I get to know, okay, this is not me, this is my hormones. So, what one thing I have observed is nowadays I keep seeing this school kids, especially girls, like who are already overweight, and like the lifestyle is not good. They just see, sometimes, yes, I agree, they have to study, so they just sit in a place. So what is your say on this? Because what I feel is, first the parents, or in the house, we have to change our lifestyle, so the kids, they watch us. Because I also heard this quote saying that your kid doesn't listen to your gyan, she or he follows your path. So is that true? What you say?
Definitely, definitely, right. You cannot, not just kids, even your parents, you cannot, like, to an extent, they are more, they're
Yes.
more stubborn. But the thing is that you cannot just like bombard people with information and expect them to change, because this is more of a behavioral thing. And you, like, once you see, like, let's say you are seeing your dad being supremely active with fitness, your mom being supremely active with fitness, and you definitely get influenced by that is going to be a real level of influence, right? Not the other way. It's not going to be like somebody telling you to do. Imagine somebody who's himself overweight is telling their kid, you have to take care of your health. And I think along with the processed food and along with the unhealthy habits, a lot of it has to do with stress. In fact, I've been dealing with two kids, 18-year-olds. They wrote the NEET exam recently. One male kid and one female. Uh, the stress levels are like unimaginable. There is so much stress. I might say even parental pressure, maybe, I don't know, but so much stress that like, if there is so much stress, even I would take a bag of chips and eat. That's the thing. Because there is no like, that's the only comfort they are having, because they are going to school in the morning, they are coming back, they are going for some coaching, they are not even getting a free time on weekends. So there is so much stress that they are going for this ultra processed food and everything as a comfort option. And it's going both ways, right? Food is causing its own problems, stress is causing its own problems, and one is, causing the other and going back and forth. And that is where things go haywire, right? That's if you notice the recent trends, I don't know if it's documented or studied or not, but I feel that females are getting into that, they're getting more mature at a younger age,
Exactly. Yeah.
body wise. And males, it's the opposite. I'm feeling that they are like getting mature at a later age,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Okay.
Like this is a common meme or a joke or something. Like people say, right? Like guys in our class during when we were in 10th and guys right now. Because I don't know, but it's guys in those times, that is maybe couple of like 10, 20 years, or like they had proper well-developed mustache, they had deep voice and everything. But now you see like they're looking like kids. Something has definitely happened that is doing this. And why are women or girls getting periods at a much earlier stage? Something is definitely going on.
Yes. Yes.
I believe this is stress mostly, maybe environmental factors, decides the food, right? Like, I don't know what toxins we are exposed to, all that probably has a role.
True, very true. Because see, like what I have seen is kids, they like into, especially girls, they're into a lot of cosmetic products, deos, shampoos. Maybe that is why maybe it is affecting them a lot than boys. Because I myself
Maybe.
have seen in my family, one of my cousin's daughter, my niece, she got her she was matured, or like she got her periods very soon, and now she's struggling with PMOS problem, overweight, and many other hormonal changes. So this clearly gives, it shows the live examples right in front of us, like what could go wrong when you use such products. And plastic consumption, like we are like knowingly or unknowingly, maybe we are consuming a lot of toxins. So do you
Right.
say that we have to change this also, like reduce toxins, reduce stop using cosmetic?
So you see, the problem here is that you are going to be like, parents cannot have whole control, right? Like, if when they are with the family, you can go for proper restaurants, or if you're going out, or you can cook your most healthy food and all that. But when they are with the friends and all, you are tempted. Like, nobody is going to resist that. They will to be part of that equation, or to be socialized. You need to you will end up consuming some food. I don't think kids are at that age and that level of thought that they are like, okay, I'm not going to eat because this is not good for me, good for my health. I wish people had that, but I don't think that's going to be possible for kids. In fact, if you go, the best way to know what is happening is go to a shop or a supermarket near the schools. You can see by the time they leave the school, there will be like a rush of kids going inside buying lays, soft drinks, and all that. And this has change has to, like, a parental level, as bit of change is possible. Like, whatever is done at home, enforce that it is proper food. And again, the parents set the example through workout and eating right and everything. That has a big thing. Another thing is it has to come from a policy level, right? What are we going to do when the options are like, we are bombarded with so many unhealthy options around us? That has to come from a policy level where the government or something decides, right, this is protein and this is, so that kind of decisions has to be made, like, or proper labeling and stuff, that all that has to be thought about.
Correct.
Speaking of protein, like, very recent trend I see among a lot of clients is this junkified proteins, right? Everything has a protein label on it. Protein puffs, protein this, protein that.
True.
There will be like protein, something like every product. I've seen so many protein products, but when you actually read the label, you understand, okay, there's hardly any protein, and it is probably coming with a ton of fat, ton of carbs, ton of calories. Like, how are they even calling it protein? But so these are all policy level changes. That is not something we can do. Like, create strict rules. Like, if you're labeling something as protein, there should be a strict rule. Now there are so many loopholes that you can go on a file a case and nothing is going to happen.
True, very, very true. Because I don't want to take the brands, but I've seen the cereals, morning cereals. They say that it's made up of a healthy ragi or whatever, and it's very, it's good in proteins. But when you actually read the ingredients, the protein is just 1% or 2%, which is like no way helping the kid. But when you see the sugar levels, the trans fats that has been loaded. Oh, so yeah, maybe see, it is very convenient for the parents because in the morning, even they'll be like in a chaotic situation where, as I said, as we just discussed, even mom will be working and she has to pack for herself. She has to send the kids to the school. So this will be a very easy option for them. Okay, just put cereals in the bowl, just pour some milk and just feed them. So this is where maybe
So,
all the parents should change, right?
so one word advice or two words for that: meal prep, right? You cook, it doesn't, like, fridge is not a bad thing. Fridge is one of the best inventions out there. So please use it. Like, I understand that fresh food and all that thought, but scientifically, you go through any resource, you will find out it does not make much of a difference. Maybe 1%, 2% decrease in some nutrients, but nothing of any nothing of significance ever happened. So why not you cook in a bulk? Like Sunday, like I prep my food, most of the things. Like yesterday night, I had my food cooked. I put it into different batches and I put it in my fridge. Some things I don't cook that day, I perhaps marinate and keep it. So be smart in that. You do it on a Sunday night. You perhaps do it on a Wednesday evening or whenever it's convenient. You do 2 times and a bit of cooking, eggs and all that. You can do it on a regular basis. But if you plan that way, this goes beyond kids for everyone. If you plan that way, you one will for once you will not have too much of a household work. You
Yes.
don't have to clean the vessels and this and that on a too much. Secondly, it's so hassle free, right? You come back from office or you come back from school, and when you don't see something interesting, you don't see some good food. What is your tendency? You're just going. Next thing you know, you're going for Zomato or Swiggy. We don't
Very.
want that. If you want to change that, have good options. Like whatever can be cooked and stored in the fridge, like a meat or some dishes of that chicken and all that can be put into batches. Even rice, if you want, actually rice is healthier that way, resistant starch and all that. And have healthy options at home, right? Keep some Greek yogurt, like buy a bunch of Greek yogurt, keep it inside, have some cheese, have eggs which you can just go for very easily. So there are options. We just need to be open to them. These are all barriers which we have set. It's not there. So these are all things we need to work on. And I tell this to everybody, like every client, they are coming with a complaint of too much cooking and this and that. No, it's not too much cooking. You need to plan better. You need to understand things better and do it accordingly. And this old belief of refrigerated food being bad, like, yeah, like there is absolutely nothing wrong in reheating a food and having it.
It's better than eating trans fats and ultra processed foods.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Like I mean, I would like if somebody is cooking me food and keeping in the plate with the perfect macros and perfect thing, but we have to adjust to what is happening in the modern day, right? We have to see what is practical. We cannot be all idealistic and see in that sense. We have to uh, do what is possible for us.
True, true, very true. So it was a very good tip, Dev. This will actually save time. You'll eat healthy, and you need not think last minute preps. Okay, what do I do? So it's all organized and planned. And there's nothing wrong, as you said, just reheating the food. And in fact, if you cook the rice and keep it in the fridge, that becomes a resistance carbs. So which is actually safe. You can eat
It's
that.
healthier. It's
Mhm.
healthier.
So that was very insightful. So, what do you think that does any deficiencies also in us in our body leads to infertility? If that is the case, what supplements do or a woman should be taking? Is this really connected, the deficiencies and infertility in women?
Yes. So, like a lot of these hormones, like in fact, all the hormones have nutrients which are sort of helping produce them or activating them. For instance, like I mentioned with thyroid, T4 to T3 conversion requires selenium at a very crucial stage. Similarly, testosterone requires boron. So if you actually dig through the stuff, you will understand that every hormone requires one or multiple nutrients required to activate them, or maybe act as a cofactor to sort of make them like useful. Like for instance, so those are the nutrients are very important in that sense, and nutrient deficiencies can definitely hamper hormones and all that, right? Like one of the most interesting things I read recently is about magnesium. Like I'm in the context of women itself. Like if you think about it, like women universally always crave chocolate,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Do especially during the periods or you crave chocolates. It's not like they are craving rasgullas and other sweets. Yeah, every sweets feels good, but it's mostly chocolates, and that was very like I was wondering what is happening, and I came across this where I read like so magnesium is one of the richest. I mean, chocolate is or rather cocoa is one of the richest sources of magnesium. So when your body is like maybe not the modern day chocolate, might hardly have anything, but at least your brain knows this cocoa taste equal to magnesium, and I need magnesium at this stage, and it makes sense. You are having cramps. What do we do for a person having cramps? You do give magnesium because calcium is cramping you up, magnesium is relaxing. Magnesium's property is relaxing. So this is the reason why women across definitely they are craving chocolate in some form. This is the reason, hot chocolate or whatever. This is the common reason because your brain is searching for magnesium because it doesn't have enough in the body. So you either supplement it or you prioritize certain types of food. So definitely all the hormones, uh, all the important nutrients require other nutrients for either activation or for some stage. Vitamin D. Vitamin D activation requires magnesium. So
True.
these are all connected and everything is connected. Yeah, like there must be like millions of processes like that. We are not aware of all of them, but you can see that many of them are very crucial. And when it doesn't happen, how it affects your body is very clear. And nutrient deficiency, regardless of the hormones, is not a good thing. So, like, but especially in case of fertility, I believe it plays a very strong role. Maybe not the entire picture. I don't believe that it is the entire picture, but definitely it's connected. It's somewhere between stress and all the insulin resistance and nutrient deficiencies, gut issues. These four are like the common problems which you can sort of base almost all the diseases based on.
True, very true. So, Dev, what do you think that the major pillars what women should follow to keep herself fit, healthy, and fertile? Like maybe one of the examples I can tell is manage her stress or eat healthy. So, what other things do you feel that it is a strong base, like a pillar, which can help her become better and have healthy babies or like to be fertile? Like, what do you think? What do you think it's important?
So I believe that like you touched upon the most important things, stress and diet. And diet itself, I would like to take it into two parts. One is where you are thinking about the macros, where it is the proteins and reducing carbs, and if there is excess fats, reducing that, but into more healthy fats and all that. That part is there. Second part is about the nutrients which are coming in. Identify which nutrients are coming in, which is not coming in. If you want, you should get a professional help. If not possible, at least the bare minimum you can do is you just put whatever, like whatever, analyze your meals. You see whatever, note down everything you had for 1, 2 days, or maybe perhaps even a week. Put it to ChatGPT or any of the AI and ask him like, what nutrient deficiencies am I having? What am I lacking on? Then you can get a clear picture. Absorption and all that is a different story, but you can get an idea. Okay, I'm lacking in so much and so. So I myself realized I was not having enough potassium recently because I did the same thing. I realized, okay, not a deficiency, but definitely maybe not as good as I would like it to be. So I had to correct that gap. Likewise, you can identify where things are not adding up, and then you have to. And when it comes to supplementation, I would think getting some help would be better because self supplementation usually doesn't work because you get something like there are different forms or different supplements, so you getting the wrong one. If you get a magnesium oxide inside of magnesium glycinate, it might not work well. So there are things which will require help, or if you are really that curious person who likes to read a lot, research a lot, then definitely that is a way. But for most people, I think some sort of help is what I would suggest. So the one pillar is food, one pillar is stress, I think stress and sleep, I can put it in one bracket. They are sort of the go hand in hand. Environmental toxins are definitely one, like you said about cosmetics. Not just cosmetics, like there's a lot of exposure from I don't want to say about fish like mercury and all, because if I say that, I don't want people to stop eating fish. But you know what I'm talking about. Like
Maybe
there are,
better options.
yeah, you need better options, and you need to give a thought, right? Like uh, what gives me the what puts me at the least risk of getting this thing, right? Like whether am I eating out, what is the better option? All these things are, this is a very important thing as well. Like if I had a choice between paneer and an egg, I will definitely go for an egg, because I don't see eggs being adulterated, but I see paneer being adulterated definitely. Right. So these are things, one of the aspect. And generally, I think people need to, this goes back to stress. Generally, people need to relax a bit more, right? Anxiety is not going to get them anywhere. Too much anxiety about everything it's a big factor. I think it's the most, probably the biggest factor. In fact, I read a study the other day which says that stress causes more damage in people who believe that stress causes more damage. So if I may be stressed, you may be stressed, but you don't think it's a big issue. But I think it's a huge issue, means it's affecting my health worse than yours.
Okay.
So people need to relax, and that greatly depends on your family also, right? Like if family environment is not suitable, your work environment, but work environment there's not much you can do. But family environment, like understand what people are going through, like first when I got married, first I was like, when my wife behaves oddly during PMS, I was like, okay, why do you change your behavior so fast? I was not understanding what is going on. But then I did things, and I read about things, and I understood, okay, if this happens and this is so and so, so you don't, you accommodate that, you try to support rather than just being very stubborn about it. Then neither the person nor you will be happy. So uh, I think from a kid's perspective, parents need to be very much understanding. People, they need to understand, like, yeah, they are your kids, but they are an individual themselves, and they have stuff in their brain. They are thinking things. They are having different experiences which you might not have had. So please, like, put them, give them a space, give them their own a bit of space while being supportive. Give them a space. So these are the big pillars for. But I would, if I'm last pillar, the biggest pillar for me is strength training. I will not, at the risk of sounding crazy, I'm gonna say, like, I would rather take somebody who strength trains rather than eat maybe not so great ideal diet. Not because diet is not important, because I think this is probably the biggest weakness from an Indian perspective. People don't have the culture or have the thing about strength training. We don't really believe in strength training. We see muscles as something like only bodybuilders or somebody athletes require. We don't require. So that mindset has to be there. And coming back to our thing about the schools and stuff, I think there should be some effort to put people into sports, right? It should not be something like a one sports period where the maths teacher just comes in and takes the class instead. Why do you want to do sports? I have to finish my syllabus. Sports is as important. So some sort of proper this thing that will help us, help our country also be more productive and get those awards and stuff. But and medals and stuff, perform well. But we'll get a better kids and better generation if we focus on sports, and we need to do that. And physical activity like gym, perhaps even have a gym at the school. Why not? Like perhaps have a dedicated gym trainer showing them this is how you do a lat pull down, this is how you do this, this muscle is getting worked out. So we should have something of that sort. So stress, food, avoiding environmental and other forms of toxins, and muscle building. These are the four main pillars, and generally being happy and they're generally being happy. That's it.
That's nice, very nice, very insightful, Dave. So, like, if my one more question is, if any woman, like, if they're facing all these problems, like menstrual issues or fertility issues, so what are those blood markers or blood tests do you usually suggest to do to your client?
Clients.
Mm.
So I would not do a specific test for reproductive health. This is something I do for all female clients. So if budget is one of the factors that decide whether I like. And in compromising on budget and doing a lot of tests might result in them going for a not so great lab. Also, we'll get false reports. We don't want that as well. So I generally like go for an all-round metabolic health analysis, and I would definitely suggest starting from the very top. I would go for a HbA1c, fasting glucose, fasting insulin, which is very important. This would be the sugar markers I would ask for. Lipids, lipids definitely all the HDL, LDL, triglycerides, all the lipid panel. Um, thyroid profile. Free thyroid would be something I would like if there's a possibility and it's not too expensive or in part of the package or something. Free thyroid would be more ideal than total. That is something I would get. Then liver and kidney function tests, they are insightful, but like if there is a constraint, I would just ignore. Like if there's a younger person and not budget constraint, I would avoid that. But I would otherwise, like if I had my choice, I would go for that. Other than that, definitely the iron studies. Iron studies usually don't come with ferritin except in some labs. So I want ferritin. Ferritin is something very important to get iron store. So iron studies will have transferrin saturation, serum iron, and binding capacity and all that. And ferritin will definitely be asked. Other than that, all the female hormones, right? Like female hormones, as in the estrogen, uh, you get the like some of the labs. Yeah, the whole panel with FH,
Okay.
all the tests. That's like a panel that will get all those. Then I don't think I missed out. So this is like the basic stuff I would ask for.
Okay.
If they want a more insightful picture and like a deeper look. Some people come to me with like, I read this post or I read this, I want to have a deeper look. Then definitely I will ask for a DEXA scan because I want to know one that one. And these are the main tests which I don't think I missed out on anything, but these are the main tests which covers perhaps 150 plus parameters will be there. 150, 160 parameters if you're listing everyone. Uh, yeah, like in kidney function test, sodium is something that I see women kind of mess it up, especially older women. Like if you have a fear of BP and you're not having much so sodium levels can go down. So sodium is something I definitely take a look. It's basic. So if I had to just take a few right from a women's reproductive health, it would be those reproductive hormones, uh, thyroid, and fasting insulin. This is what I would, if I had to put the bare minimum, this would be it.
Okay.
And I would like to add a very important point. Actually, it is very crucial. So, uh, hormone testing is very sensitive, right? Like how you handle the samples, the equipment used are very much like that can dictate how the hormones are this thing. They are very sensitive as compared to a routine test like a fasting glucose or a fasting or a HbA1c lipids. Most of the labs have these things sorted out, the basic test. But something like a fasting insulin or an estrogen, these are not commonly tested. These are, first of all, these are hormones. Thyroid, also a hormone, but thyroid at least a very common test. So
Correct.
which are not very common labs tend to not might not have the proper facility or might not take sample in a very this thing, right? So if this is again convenience, if there is a possibility, I would suggest, like, if budget again is not a constraint, I would suggest routine test you can do from any lab, but hormones you go for a proper affiliated lab, and if possible, you go there to the lab and get it tested rather than home collection. That person might be stopping by for a tea or a coffee, and your report will go.
Okay, okay. I didn't know that even this matters. Okay, so it's always better to go to the diagnostic center itself.
Yeah, so we can only say this lab is good, right? I can only know, you can only know like this so and so lab is good. But
Correct.
again, it comes down to what the particular franchisee is. Maybe in the where you are living, that is good, but maybe somewhere else it's not. So these are things which is not our control. But I have seen a lot of false reports.
Okay.
I have seen a lot of false reports from, especially from labs which offer a lot of packages for a low price.
True.
Because these things, these hormones and everything, the testing equipment costs a fair bit. What I found from reliable sources is that big hospitals like Apollo and all those places where when they have their equipment little worn out and all, they will auction it, and this lower, cheaper labs just get it for a small price and put it as this thing.
True.
This not may not be the practice everywhere, but this is a common thing that's happened. That is why they can afford test at a very cheaper price. And at least hormonal testing, I would get it from a proper lab, proper facility, even if it's a little more expensive. But other things you can just get it from a normal lab. It should be fine. Again, I have seen even something as simple as HbA1c being off.
Correct. Correct. True. Very true. Okay.
Yeah, as somebody in Kolkata itself, the lady had a fasting insulin of 86. That was a big concern for me. Like 86 means it could be a tumor also. We don't know what it is. So got it from a better lab the next day, and the report was something like 13 or 14. So so this lab thing is something to be careful of. But yeah, these are the tests which I would generally recommend.
So yes, we can also discuss about like many women, the middle-aged women nowadays. They think that okay, I'm very active at home. I cook, I clean the house, and I just keep walking around in the house, and that itself they think it's like more than enough to exercise. So what is your say on this, Dave?
So one thing is you have to understand is that household work, at least in the modern day, is it's not gonna be stressing your muscles, or it's not gonna be any form of strength training, right? So like whenever I do my household work, I understand that it is annoying. I'm being honest, it's annoying. And it, a lot of times, maybe not in our families, but a lot of families, it is very thankless work. You don't get paid for it. You people don't even see it as a work. So in that sense, it's very annoying. But fact is, it's not going to replace your exercise. Exercise is, so I see these people like on Instagram doing, like, if you are squatting down and doing the jadu, that is same as why you have to go to gym. That is such a, if I have to be honest, that's such a misogynistic mindset. It's not true. A workout is very important, and strength. You're not going to get benefits of a strength training from any household activities unless you're doing jadu while doing a push-up. I don't think it's going to work out. So you need to, if not gym, you need to find some sort of home equipment, dumbbells. I'm sure you deal with a lot of home people who are working out from home as well. So uh, you can. It's not a replacement. I understand it is not like a replacement. You need a proper time for workout. Even if you do all these things, you're gonna need a time for that. And just as a concluding point, I want to say is look at all the women, look at our mothers, and you can look at the older women. Just go outside and look at the older women. You can see that most of them are sort of limping. Their knees are probably worn out. They are not. They are usually overweight. Uh, they have low energy levels. They did a lot of household work. Why is this happening to them? simply because they did not do the right diet and right exercise, and they don't have enough muscle mass. So this is something to be taken care of. And just to add as a concluding thing to our podcast is that women need to prioritize themselves, right? So we have this mindset in India, or at least in women's mind. I don't know why they have it, but they have think that taking care of themselves is seen as somehow selfishness. I don't understand the logic behind it, but they do. I'm sure you come across cases like that, right? It's always you cooking food. What is wrong in like saving a bit of food for yourself? I understand you're feeding your husband and your kids and your in-laws. Good, well and good, but I see a lot of cases where women are putting them. They are often eating what after all of them have eaten, like whatever is little behind. Like you're gonna eat like a gravy of chicken and maybe one small piece, while everybody else had something. They can eat, but why not prioritize yourself? You buying supplements for yourself is not a bad thing. It is your body, right? Your family, but it's your body, and you need to take care of it. In fact, you won't believe I said in the beginning of the podcast, I said I have more male clients than female clients. But you won't believe that I have more discovery calls with women than men. I, in fact, talk to a lot more women. I discuss their problems. Uh, and these are not, I'm not talking about any housewives. I'm talking about well earning, well established women. When I talk to them, they understand their problems, but they are like, I don't want to join because my like because I can just literally feel the mindset like I'm spending so much or whatever it is on myself, right? And that's on back of their head, and that is like I can somehow maybe I'll just look at some Instagram or something and I will adjust or something. This is a common thing. I speak to them, they clearly want to join, but that final step they are not making. And very few times I had how the husband stepping in to say that no need to join, no need to do it. That is more of a rarity, at least in the urban setup I am working in. That is more of a rarity. But the other point is very like it's so common. Women don't want to any spending on them, neither in the form of supplements, neither in the form of workout. And the sad part is that it's not even about it's not even about the money because they are earning members. They are still in that mindset thing. How many calls have I ended with them saying, I really want to join, but I'll just discuss with my husband and get back. And I'll get a sorry message after a few days. Sorry, I cannot do this and this and that. Very unfortunate. Makes you think. We need a, perhaps before all the nutrition and the workout and all that, we need a major mindset shift to fix this and a lot of issues.
Sure. Very, very insightful podcast, Dave. And we have covered all the points like what helps women, what they need to do, and how they need to take care of their health, things to avoid, things to include in their lifestyle. It was very good talking to you. And yes, so you to all the viewers, this is Dave. So if you want any help from him, like fitness related or nutritional related, I can put his details in the description, and you can definitely contact him. And thank you so much, Dave, for coming into the to our podcast. And yes, many thanks, and wish.
Enjoyed it as well.
Yeah.
Thoroughly enjoyed it as well. Good set of questions.
Thank you so much. So, wish we do another podcast coming up. So, viewers, you tell us what you want to hear from us, or what any questions or any podcast in your mind that we want to do. So, we will definitely work on that. Okay, Dev. So, thank you so much once again. Thanks for coming to the podcast. Thank you.